Still experiencing severe symptoms months, even a year after initial infection. According to the American Academy of Physical Medicine and Rehabilitation, roughly 11 million Americans are living with long COVID. Survivor Corps is a patient advocacy group providing information and resources to people with long COVID. The organization has more than 180,000 members. Joining us, the group's founder, Diana Barrett. At what point are you a long COVID survivor?
So I think basically anyone who is 6 weeks past diagnosis and is still having lingering symptoms, and might I add that some of the worst cases of long COVID can come from the most mild infections, even asymptomatic infections. And one of the most maddening parts of it is that there is no typical case of long COVID. It presents as a constellation of symptoms, a standard constellation, but wide, with each person having a very unique subset. So everything from extreme neuropathic pain that mimics advanced diabetes. We are seeing people with Parkinsonian-like tremors, feelings of inner vibrations, strokes, heart attacks, COVID onset diabetes, COVID onset lupus, you name it. It is really, really frightening.
Has the medical community, who are you working with, or who has reached out to Survivor Corps? Who is using your wealth of anecdotal information?
We have managed to forge partnerships with public and private institutions. We've put out multiple papers with Yale University. The last one just recently on these Parkinsonian-like tremors and feelings of inner vibrations that are keeping people from sleeping. We discovered that it was a symptom that was causing the most human suffering and grief. And we brought it to the scientists at Yale and said, we need to understand this. There are too many people suffering. So we are partnered with the Mayo Clinic. We're partnered with Yale. We're partnered with private companies. Anyone who we think is going to push the needle, we are partnered with.
How has the medical insurance responded to long COVID?
It's been a difficult path. I'm happy to say that we finally have an ICD code. So there's actually now a diagnostic code as of the end of October for long COVID. So there is definitely a gulf between the regulations and the policies and real world.
To get the insurance code, was that largely patient advocacy and organizations like Survivor Corps?
Correct. It was really just CMS. It was the government dragging its feet on something that was just a bureaucratic issue that needed paperwork. It was not something that needed such heavy lifting. There's been a lot of movement in the government towards supporting long COVID, but again, it's where the rubber meets the road. So Congress gave $1.15 billion to the NIH last February to study long COVID. The NIH is still sitting on that money. I sit on their Recover committee, and not a penny of it has been dispersed to single scientists.
Why?
Because they are spending their time planning, and they are looking towards phenotyping, towards trying to figure out how do we make sure that we are not including the wrong things under this umbrella of long COVID. And they're so concerned about that they're forgetting that there are 50 million Americans who are suffering every day, and none of their research, none of this $1.15 billion is going to be aimed towards therapeutics. People need hope. They are debilitated. They cannot go back to work. It's going to have a massive effect on our economy, and we don't yet know the full long-term ramifications. We haven't seen anything. We're only 18 months in. And I don't know whether it's the fact that tends to hit more women than it does men. Men are more affected by acute COVID. Women are more affected by long COVID. And, hopefully whatever research we are able to get underway and whatever answers we are able to find will bring up every chronic disease community in its wake, because we all need to rise together.
Thank you to Diana. If you want to find out more about Survivor Corps, head to their website, survivorcorps.com, and you can watch our extended interview with Diana on Full Court Press Overtime. That will be posted to our website, fullcourtgreta.com.